Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because it
teach people like, hey, it's okay, change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
How you think you are. 27 days to radically shift your thinking and upgrade your life. More wealth, health, love, and joy.
Your course is the first course that I don't mind repeating again and again and again.
Click on the link for the special offer or visit the website at www.arvettemclean.com. And welcome to Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is the Rona virus vaccine. Yes or no? And I have joining me my fabulous team. I have Scott, Deborah, Stephen.
Hey.
Hey guys, how are you?
doing great.
Hey.
Awesome.
Good. It's
Hi,
so good to
Arvette.
see everyone.
Yeah, it's good to see you all.
Yes. So the Rona vaccine, I like that title. I like that you guys want to do this topic. It's an important topic to discuss. I know it's on a lot of people's minds. And of course, there is many good arguments for getting the vaccine as there are for not getting the vaccine. And I actually don't know what any of you think about the vaccine. And so I purposefully did not want to know what you all thought. And it's just going to be interesting to hear your opinions on the topic. And I'm sure you've given it some good thinking in your mind, probably some dialogue and things like that. So I'm interested in hearing where this conversation is going to go and, just really helping other people to start to process the vaccine as well. So I think I'm going to go around the circle and start one person at a time. If you can tell me your initial thinking about the vaccine. So I'm going to start with Stephen.
Well, my thoughts on it is I don't agree with it. And I have a couple of reasons as to why I don't agree with it. But at the same token, it's more
let me scoot in there. When you say you don't agree with it, what do you mean?
when I don't agree with it, I wouldn't take it. So yeah, that's what I meant. I wouldn't take it. Only reason why is just because the history of vaccines. Prime example, Tuskegee experiment back in, I want to say that was the 50s or 60s. It seems as though, we have no proof, and this is my thing on it. As a quality question, if you were to ask yourself, where is the proof? We have no proof of the vaccine actually working, okay? Even if somebody was to sit back on national TV and take the vaccine, we still have no proof if it works or not, because anybody that's on TV, they could just be putting on a show. And so I just think that a lot of people just really need to dig into asking a lot more quality questions when it comes to the vaccine. Now, I'm not taking away from the fact that it has been people that passed away from COVID-19. So I'm not saying that it's not real. It is real, but my viewpoint to the extent of what the media has been making it, I really don't. I just disagree. I have a lot of questions, and I think that a lot of people haven't been asking the right questions as to what's been going on with this pandemic. Now, like I said, I can't take away from the people who lost lives with the pandemic, with COVID-19, but um, it's a lot of things that doesn't make sense. They tell us to wear a mask, right? So my thought process on this, if you was to really ask a quality question, here's one. You go out to eat, and they tell you go out to eat to a restaurant, right? And so you go into this restaurant, they tell you to wear your mask. So you wear your mask, and that's supposed to help you and protect you from the virus, right? But then when you get inside, you sit down at the table, and then they tell you you can take the mask off. So you mean to tell me that the virus is just on standstill? It's gonna wait for you to eat your food, and then after you finish, you can get back to regular schedule program. It don't make sense. And so that's what I mean by like asking these quality questions. It just doesn't make sense, you know. And I think that we really need to dig in a little bit deeper with asking those questions, because nobody has asked those questions. We just been given answers, just been given things told to us. Put it like that. People have been telling us things, and we just been going with the flow. Just because it's the media telling us. Well, hey, the media lies too. The media don't always tell us the truth, and so that's my viewpoint on a little bit of what's going on so far.
All right, thank you for that. Scott, what do you think?
I'm actually in alignment with Stephen on that. So when a vaccine does, when it comes out, or I guess it's out officially now, I am definitely not taking it. And a lot of my questions are very similar to some of the things that Stephen just said just then. And looking at the past results of different vaccines over the years, looking at some of the inconsistencies that are going on right now. Personally, I am absolutely not going to take that vaccine.
And Devorah?
Yes. Well, I am in agreement. I personally am not, excited just to be in the situation where we're in this state as, as all of us being one. We're all going through this. So I'm not quite happy that we have to be in a place to have to make a decision, to make a choice, whether to have to take a vaccine that we're not really sure of. And even the makers and the creator of this vaccine, they're doing this and hoping for the best. I've been doing my research and knowing that this is being rushed, kind of, the makers of the vaccine are rushing the process. Vaccines beforehand had years before they were before the FDA approved them as being ready for for vaccinations to occur nationwide or globally, whereas this one has been less than 6 months in the process of creating this vaccine. So on one side there's that frame of mind that I'm not excited about having to take it. And if I have the option, I wouldn't. But then I have to look at what I've been learning from being a part of this podcast. I have to look at what I've been learning since we started in January, since the pandemic hit, I have to like hold on to my understanding of the universe and how things work, and how it doesn't take all of us to be on the same page, but it at least takes one or two, right, to be in the presence of knowing that what we focus on is what we're going to get. So although I'm not happy with where we are as a globally as a nation, and I am concerned for my loved ones and my families and my family and my friends. Um, I do try to steadily tell what the universe what it is that I want and not what it is that I don't want. So what I want is us to heal, on all levels, heal from the sickness of this pandemic, heal spiritually, heal mentally. Um, so I really try to focus more on those things. If I am in a place where I have no choice and I have to be vaccinated in order for me to continue working, or if it becomes an issue of martial law where they're looking at medical records and they're mandating that everyone has to do this, I'm going to focus on what I want the outcome to be as a result of that. So maybe I have to be vaccinated, but I'm going to focus on the vaccine not affecting me in ways that other people are worried about being affected by it. I'm going to continue to tell the universe what it is that I want from the outcome. So right now, I'm not a fan of the vaccine, so I'm telling the universe I'm not going to have to worry about it. And nobody in my circle is going to have to worry about it either. We're not going to have to be vaccinated. We're not going to have to worry about being affected by COVID. And we're going to keep putting that out there for other family and other friends and other people that don't fully have an understanding of what we know is possible, so that we can give them, be a model for them to stand by and say, look at the Universe Speaks podcast. They're speaking on what they want, not what they don't want. So that's the way I'm going to go. So the outcome for me is the same.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Deborah. Thank you, everybody, for your opinions. And I would absolutely, I guess, mimic what Deborah said. In general, there is I guess people are weary of vaccines in general. But we know that vaccines typically are safe. Um, if you think about things like polio and smallpox, things like where there was a time when people were afraid to let their children go on the playgrounds, etc., because they were afraid that they would get polio or whatever the disease was at that time. And then we have vaccines that have eradicated those diseases, which is what gives us the privilege to even say, are vaccines important? Because we didn't experience those things. And so if you think about 1 in 12,000 people get struck by lightning, 1 in 347,000 people are in airplane crashes, and 1 in 1 million people have grave consequences as a result of a vaccine. So vaccines typically are safe. But the issue with this vaccine is that it has been rushed. And in the process of rushing, like Deborah said, it normally takes like 7 to 12 years to approve a vaccine. And we're doing this in 7 months. But the thing about it is there's been so much, all eyes are on the vaccine. So much money is being poured into it. And my personal belief is that when we're all focused in the same way, miracles can happen. So I do believe that a miracle can take place and that we could have the perfect vaccine right away. I do understand, however, that the technology that they are using for this particular vaccine is something that they've never done in humans before. And even when it was done in the animal population, there's been some not so good results. And it has the potential to alter your DNA and, things like that. And some people say that the results of the vaccine have not even been proven to be anything like it hasn't proven to be effective like can you still catch it again later? Can you get coronavirus again? So it's certain things like that that hasn't even been proven. But also, a lot of times when situations like this, there's a talk of kind of forcing people to take the vaccine, and a lot of times you do not want to take a vaccine for a disease that you've already had. So that's a whole nother issue, because they say so many people have been exposed to coronavirus who don't even know that they had it. And then you take the vaccine, and then that will make you then get the coronavirus, if that makes sense. So there are like all these issues floating around. So like I said, it's as many good reasons for taking it as for not taking it. And a lot of times, let's say you'll hear about herd immunizations. So you definitely, there are a lot of diseases that if we personally say, I'm not going to take it, it really doesn't help the person next to us. So it's almost like if you don't take it, you're still harming the person who's next to you. So for example, let's think about what happened in 2016. The measles had been eradicated, but so many people stopped taking the vaccine, stopped getting vaccine against the measles. And in 2016, people began to get the measles all over again for a disease that's been eradicated, and it spread to 6 states and 2 countries because people decided not to get the vaccine. And the thing is, no vaccine is 100% for everyone. So it may work for, let's say 90% of the population, and 10% of the population it doesn't work for. And so if I don't get the vaccine, then I'm allowing this virus to spread around the population, so to speak. And those 10%, those vulnerable people, then, do I have responsibility for them? So those are kind of like the different issues that you can kind of consider. Personally, I have always been like a conspiracy theorist type of person. I'm like, you're not injecting nothing up in me. I don't want your poison type of thing. So personally, that would be kind of how I would lean, except being a conspiracy theorist goes against what it is that we talk about on the podcast. And so on the podcast, I'm saying I am a powerful creator, and so are all of us. So what if someone has a conspiracy? It doesn't affect me because that's not the energy that I'm putting out. I'm not putting out that something on the outside can cause me to succumb. And so similar to what Deborah was saying, if we know who we are and we start vibrating in a place of, love and health and joy and, goodness and cheer, the chances of a virus coming in, knocking us out, that's probably not going to happen. As well as if I take the vaccine is not going to knock us out either.
That's right. I agree. Where's
agree
your
with
focus, right?
Yes.
Like I said, it's like with my viewpoint on it, I'm not imposing that on nobody. Everybody is entitled to how they feel. And that's how I want people to, I would love people to, do what they feel. Don't go out here just because if I said, I disagree with it, that doesn't mean that you have to disagree with it. If anything, I just want people to think, put thought into it. And just it sort of just opens the door to something new, just a open mind to the idea of like, okay, I never thought about that before, So, but besides that, my main thing is just really think about it.
And feel about it. I would say the main thing is to feel about it and to almost follow the path of least resistance in a sense. Because if you really feel like I need the vaccine, that's that's what your inner being is saying. That's what your thinking is. That's how you're vibrating. So then by all means, get the vaccine. This is really, it's kind of like a personal choice following what your inner guidance is saying. And if you're saying vaccine, nope, then I would say follow that. I don't believe there's a right and wrong to this situation. But probably going to the path of least resistance. And as Deborah was saying, if it's a situation where it's almost like you're being forced to do it, then one, either you have to some kind of way be able to release that resistance to it, or you just need another job, or or whatever the situation may be. But I would not get it if I really felt strongly about not getting it, and I would make sure I got it if I felt strongly about getting it. If that makes any sense, yeah.
But I completely agree with that part. If your feelings are saying one way or the other really strongly, then you definitely want to follow through with that particular piece of it. And at the same time, right now there's a lot of people that are just operating from fear. We've just been inundated with so much fear this entire year. I mean, it was already, a lot of the world was in fear anyway, and confusion and self-doubt and all this type of thing. But this year it's just really been just piled on over and over and over again. And we're seeing where people are being forced to wear masks and getting beat up because they're not wearing a mask. And we're seeing people getting tased and things. We're seeing a whole lot of crazy things happening just right now and across the world, really. And so it's a lot of fear that's going on. And the challenge is when we're in that place of fear, we're also in that place where we're not thinking properly, because we're in that fight or flight type of stance. And so when we're in that fight or flight, our mind is not expanded, it's contracted. And in that contraction, we are not thinking things through the way that we should. Some people are in a place right now where they're just thinking, how do I get out of this fear? Now, how do I get myself back to normalcy? And so, I mean, if I got to take the vaccine, I'll take the vaccine. And they're doing it from a place of weakness rather than a place of strength. Now, the thing is that, what you are, Vet, and Deborah, what you all were talking about, when you can speak and knowing that the universe will follow through on the things that you're putting out there to the universe. If what we're putting out is fear, then we're getting back things to be fearful of. And so it's important for us to make sure that we're getting to that place of peace. As much as possible, we get to the place of peace. If we can't get to the place of peace, now we have to kind of go in and do some research. Now we have to go in, I believe, to do things where we can make a decision from a place that's not as weak as where we've been pushed to try to make decisions from right now. So we have to find our internal strength right now to stand in our power one way or the other.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. You definitely have to, because the universe is listening. What you're putting out there speaks the loudest. So you really have to believe in what you're asking for. And that comes, just as you mentioned, from a place of strength. It doesn't come from fear. You're asking for something because you're afraid of something else. So you have to ask for it from that place of strength. And so not only is the universe listening, the universe is always guiding. So we have to listen to the universe as well.
There you go.
So in addition to what Scott's saying, and come from a place of opposite of fear, come from a place of confidence, of joy, when you're looking at a situation, coming from a place of strength, to ask for what it is that you want. You also have to be in that same mode when you're listening, and in listening you are receiving, right? So as our vet mentioned, not resisting, the opposite of resisting is letting go to receive, being able to let go and be open so that you can receive. So that is just as important. So approaching the situation from a place of strength, and not non-fear, and then not resisting and being open and being receptive and ready to receive.
Well, Vet, you mentioned some beautiful statistics a little earlier, and I know Stephen mentioned some stuff about the Tuskegee experiment, and overall, can vaccines work? I do believe that they can. At the same time, there's quite a bit of history around vaccines being used in a negative type of thing, to control population growth and things of that sort. There's been certain vaccines that were given only to certain communities, certain neighborhoods. And, when you're seeing some things like that, that does kind of put a little, extra piece of doubt within my mind. And all of this to be going around a virus that, some of the stats are showing that 99.7% of the people that get it have no effects afterwards. And you're seeing death rates, that the overall death rate in the US has been dropping, even though you have this virus out here that is just supposedly killing so many people. Is the virus real? Yes, I believe it's real. Is it as dangerous as they're saying it to be? I don't believe that to be the case. And so it does, not to go into the conspiracy theory into detail right now per se, but when you have a virus that 99.7% of the people are able to walk away from it. I mean, I know people personally that, in different states around the country but I've met them, I've actually talked to them face to face over the years that have contracted the virus. And with that, they didn't get any medication from the doctors at all. And within 7 to 10 days, they were completely fine. Even during the time period, they didn't have, they weren't crazy ill. They lost taste in their mouths and whatever. It was like minor types of effects. But now they're completely fine and they're not showing any symptoms at all. And, so you have scenarios like that going on, but then you have the mass almost forcing of a population to get the vaccine. I don't know, to me, something just doesn't seem right in there whenever I'm asking whatever questions that might come up. And so that's just been a little disturbing to me.
Yeah, I've heard talk of that they would think about forcing people, but I haven't seen where they have been forcing people.
Well, the forcing people, they haven't talked about it, but if you think about it, they have been putting it in place. So in other words, it's like everywhere you go now, you're forced to wear a mask. You can't go into no establishment without a mask. Now, there's no law saying that you have to wear a mask, but
I'm
the
specifically
reason,
talking about the vaccine though.
oh, the vaccine. Okay, I'm sorry. But to what Scott was saying, and to follow up with that, I just feel like with the something else that bothers me a little bit though with this vaccine is people are so scared, and they're so scared and they have this fear base. They're living off this fear base, right? And so everywhere that we go now, it's demanded that you have to have a mask on. And like I said, I understand because it's two sides. There's two sides to it, but I think that the control factor comes into play. And this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but at the same token, just doing my research, reading and just watching the news and just seeing things going on a daily basis. But I haven't seen no law as to where you have to wear a mask. The only reason why a lot of establishments have you wear a mask is because it's recommended because of what's going on to protect the people. And so that again plays off of the fear, because what we see is what the news tell us. We get our facts from the news, but nobody has ever sit back and done diligent research behind what they've been telling us. because I can sit back and tell you the sky is black, and you look outside and the sky is obviously blue. But since you have this information and you have control over of the media, this huge global, I don't know how you can say it, but just basically you have control of what the people are programmed to hear, to listen. You can tell anybody anything, and the people will listen to it. So I just think that we I would tell people to follow their intuition. That's the key. Follow your intuition, because everybody's intuition is a little bit different. Everybody feel things differently. You know, um, my intuition may be saying, you know what, it doesn't feel right. Your intuition may be saying, you know what, I don't feel safe. I feel safer if I go about doing so. So what you were saying before, Arvet, there is no such thing as a right or wrong. So we're not here to, we're not here telling people what to do or what not to do, but just basically giving people a different viewpoint, of how to look at it from what they've been looking at it.
Everybody says something that I want to piggyback on, and so I'll try not to dominate the conversation. But I did want to mention about the fear, because as Scott said, when you're in a state of fear, that's also a state of stress. And it closes down your possibilities. It closes down what you can see in front of you. So a lot of times things can come to us. Like, we don't have to try to figure things out. I don't have to sit around and try to figure out what to do next. If I'm in a state of peace in my heart, a place of love, the answer is going to come to me. I don't have to go out there looking for the answer, trying to beat my brain in and try to figure out what's right, what's wrong. It's going to come to me. But if I'm in a state of fear and I have those blinders on, then I'm at the mercy of everything that's out there and how it's going to affect me. And then the other thing about being in a state of stress is it actually does shut down your immune system. And so if we are stressing about, should I get it, should I not get it, should I get it, should I not? We're actually going to shut down our immune system in the process. And so we definitely want to stay out of that space of fear, and really focus on what it is you would want. What do you love? And it's a difference between what your mouth says and what you're really vibrating. And so a lot of times people will say, well, I say my affirmations, or, I say my prayers, or I say these things, yet bad things continue to happen. But the thing is, how are you vibrating? What's the energy that you're vibrating out? So we can fool ourselves into thinking that we're sending out loving information, loving waves of vibration. But a lot of times, if we really think closely, we simply aren't. We're sending out fear thoughts. We're sending out thoughts about ourselves, negative thinking about ourselves, not loving ourselves properly. And if we're not loving ourselves properly, how can we send out a vibration of love? So I'm being loving towards you, but in the back of my head, I'm saying I'm not good enough. I didn't do that right. I make mistakes every time I turn around, I'm doing it wrong. I don't have the power to change. I don't have the confidence to do this. So it's all about, instead of focusing on everything that we see as wrong with ourselves, and that we see as wrong with the world, and that we see as wrong with the next door neighbor who's rude, to really start focusing on what is it that we want. And all of us, I'm going to say at least 99.9% of us, we want the same things. We all want to be loved. We want to love. We want to be in a place where we're free. We want to be abundant. We want to frolic. That's the kind of thing we want. And so if we can start focusing on what we want, put our energy there, that is the vibration. That's how you change your vibration, by just really putting your energy on what you want, and then making yourself, like, we have the power to make ourselves feel whatever the emotion is that we say we want to feel. So there's no reason that any day should go by when we don't feel what it is we say we want to feel. So if we want to feel powerful, then we can manufacture the emotion of feeling powerful in our bodies. And then we just need to practice that vibration. We need to practice the vibration of freedom, of abundance, of love, of being adored. We need to start practicing whatever the vibration is that we want in our lives every day.
And you know, with you saying that you're right on point there. And I think that with anything that goes on, the Holy Spirit is able to take whatever it is and use it as a bridge back to peace, as long as we allow it. And you know, with all of this stuff that's happening, I know without a doubt that it will be for our good in the end. You know, no matter what, it's going to be for our good. And what you're touching on, in my opinion, is one of the ways that it can become for our good extremely quickly. You know, so if we all began to start taking more time to feel differently, you know, to begin to love ourselves, to begin to love others, to live from that place of forgiveness, we'll find that we're healthier, we're happier, we're more certain. We are then creating a new experience for ourselves, an experience for ourselves where we're wholly healed no matter what is happening, no matter what's going on around us. And so I believe that is one of the gifts that is taking place right now, where we don't have to spend as much travel time going to and from work. And we may have some extra time at the house now because we can't go out in the middle of the night or whatever. So it's different things now that is allowing us to have more time to ourselves, more time where we can go within to reconnect to the truth of who we are, to connect with that strength that is within us. And now we can come back out into the world at a much stronger energy, a much stronger, higher vibrational level. And so I think that's one of the gifts that all of this is bringing to us right now.
I agree.
Absolutely. Same here. Absolutely. I agree with that. I want to just share with those watching too, just what a blessing this platform is for me. And I cannot thank you all enough as friends, as people that have just motivated and inspired me to this point. But I feel a need to share, and maybe someone who's watching needed to hear this. In order for me to have gotten to that point where Scott speaks of, where you are able to be in your strength and think positively and think about what it is that you want and move towards that. And what Arvette is saying about being abundant and being in a space of non-fear. It took a lot of me being a little less critical of myself, a little lighter, a little more forgiving, right? Of my mistakes and not being where I wanted to be, not being in the place where I envisioned myself, in order for me to get to the point of the fear goes away faster, right? Being in my strength comes a lot easier. So that just was something that was on my spirit. Anybody watching it, that was right for you. That was just for you. So be a little lighter and find reasons to be happy. That gets you there a lot quicker, focusing on even the smallest things. If you're a pet lover, if you have dogs, your dogs are always happy. Little kids too, always happy. They're always on happy mode. So reach and look towards them for that motivation if you need to. But that's what gets you there. At least that's what it was for me.
Nice.
Thank you. Any closing comments, guys?
Silence.
He said silence.
But my thought again, just as we've been saying, is this: take the time to reconnect to the truth of who you are. You were created by something that was just absolutely amazing. The creator of the entire universe created you. I remember listening to Joseph Murphy a while back, and one of the things that Joseph Murphy was talking about, he was talking about somebody that had a wristwatch on at the time, and they said that if the wristwatch was broken, they could actually take that back to the person that created the wristwatch, the watchmaker. And they knew without a doubt that the watchmaker could rebuild the watch into its perfect condition. And so, I'm thinking about him saying that, I got to thinking, who is the maker of this body? And, the maker of this body is the maker of the universe, the maker of each and every body that's out here. And so the thing that can actually create, make this body is what can actually heal this body. It is what can actually keep this body whole and healed to begin with. And, so to remember that's where the strength is. And that connection between me and the creator of me is always there, no matter what. No matter how far I think I may have strayed away, no matter how many things I may have thought I've done wrong along the way, no matter how many things that I may have said I should have done this, but I didn't do it. That connection is still there. And so I believe it was Arvette that said a little earlier, I can't remember which one of you all say this just a little earlier, but right now, no matter what is going on, no matter what has happened in your past, you are right now still loved. You are right now still lovable. You are right now still loving. And so when you remind yourself of that and you reconnect to that energy consistently as much as you can, just over and over and over again, you'll find that you're feeling better continuously. You're feeling more whole, more complete, more health. You're enjoying life more completely.
So I actually love that. Unless someone else has a burning thing that they want to say, I want to end with that and go to questions. But I do want to say, do Stephen or Deborah, did y'all have anything else you wanted to say?
I would just tell people in general, follow your intuition. Take it easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. If you done something that didn't align with your true self, don't beat yourself up. I mean, we all sometimes sit back, we fall short of what it is that we want. And it's okay. It's okay. We all got a chance to restart over and get back along on our path, on our true path, what we see for ourselves. So I would tell anybody, follow your truth. Don't be scared to follow your truth. You will have naysayers, along the way, but for the most part, though, do what you feel is best for you.
All right. Thank you for that. Any burning desire, Deborah?
No, I don't have much to add, but thank you all.
Okay, awesome. So we do have some questions. So we have a question from Pearl Taylor, and she has asked, has any of us ever had COVID?
Good question.
Good question. No. I haven't had COVID. My child's mom had COVID. She wasn't on her deathbed, okay, but she was sick for a while. But she's good now. She's healthy. She's good to go. So yeah, that's my answer. The answer to that one.
So no, I have not.
And no, I haven't
Okay.
either. And I wanted to add that I don't think I've ever even had the flu. There's a chance that I might have had it before. But if I did, it lasted for one day. And because I would never understand why people would be so sick behind the flu. And I'm like, I think I got the flu, but I feel fine. So I think I've had colds before, but not the flu or anything serious. And my basic belief ever since I was a kid, I always believed that I'd never get sick. Now, I'm not going to say I never get sick. That's not true. But I've never, I don't think I've ever had a virus, well, other than the cold.
Okay.
Wow, that's great. Yes, I have not gotten COVID. I will not get COVID. I think that has a lot to do with when we started this year. I think we did a opening, about the coronavirus our vet and we had this discussion, you know, and I just spoke it. I told the universe, I was like, we're not even gonna go there. I had I had family members who did contract it. You know, they're very blessed. It was like flu symptoms for them. And for one of them, she barely had any symptoms. She would not have known if she wasn't getting tested weekly, just based on what her job is, you know, requiring for her. She wouldn't have known otherwise. But, you know, I think uh, the mindset, you know, like we spoke of, being open to abundance and abundance of health, um, coming from a place of strength when we're thinking about it. For me, I feel that it has had a lot to do with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
COVID free over here.
And I do want to add that if anyone does get COVID, it's not to say that anything's wrong, that you've done anything wrong, that you thought anything wrong, or anything like that. And I remember someone asked the question, are they responsible for COVID? You know, like if we create our own realities, did we create COVID? And my answer to that is yes, absolutely, we did. And if you think about however you are vibrating in the world and think about that magnified. So think about all the people in the world who are vibrating as you are and think of that being magnified. So, for example, think about the number of people in the world who are saying or who were saying, I just need a break. I'm tired. I wish I didn't have to see nobody today. How many people were vibrating like that? You know, and then we got that wish. So how many of us wish that our planet was cleaner or that our climates were better? How many of us wish that we had more time with our loved ones? How many of us were vibrating in that way? And so we got it. And so even if you have contracted COVID or there are people who you love and know who contracted, and even if they have passed on, there is nothing wrong here. They didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just starting to be clear on how you're vibrating. You know, like I say just a moment ago about how we think we're vibrating a certain way, but we're not. And I remember an experiment I did years ago where I actually set an egg timer. And so every time the egg timer would ring, I would have to think about what am I thinking? And me, I think I'm like one of the nicest people in the world, right? But the thoughts that I was having when that egg timer would ring, I'm like, no, that's not loving. My thinking was not loving. I was thinking about, why can't anybody do anything right? Am I the only person that can do this right? Like, what is wrong? Is everybody incompetent? So literally, I was thinking things like that, or I would think about like, dang, why didn't I think of this? And why did I do, you know, it wasn't like the most loving thoughts in the world. Like when you beat yourself up, it's nothing loving about that. And so you're not doing anything wrong. Just start to pay attention. Just start more frequently paying attention and vibrating and if things in your life aren't going exactly how you would love them to go, just think about shifting your perspectives, shifting how you're vibrating, what you're putting out into the world.
I love
So
that.
beautifully said.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Sometimes it's such a small little piece sometimes. You know,
Yes.
So thank you for that question, Pearl Taylor. The next question is from Juanita. And Juanita asked, what if your work mandates that you take the vaccine? And I think, Deborah, I think you kind of hit on that a little bit. You want to talk a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely. So, you know, I have a strong belief and understanding of not only us speaking to the universe, but listening to when the universe is speaking to us, you know, guiding us. So if you are listening to yourself and intuitively, you know that that is not the direction you want to go, and you're giving an ultimatum, you know, maybe this is the universe's way of letting you know that where you are right now is not for you. because it's not lining up with your morals and your vows and your morals, your values, and what you want for yourself. So that would be a good way to look at that situation. If you're being put in a place that seems to be forcing you to do something that goes against what your creator is telling you is for you, then maybe your creator is also guiding you to be in a different place. So that would be my response to that question. Good question.
Yeah, I
Very
love
good
your
question.
response. Anybody else want to respond to that?
Oh, she touched on it perfectly.
Well, I do want to add that there are a lot of things that we are fearful of, and our intuition will tell us to not do. But that's not necessarily our intuition talking, it's our fear talking, and learning to know the difference. And we don't always know the difference. And I would venture to say that what Deborah said, that is absolutely one perspective, is to think about, is this where I need to be right now? And that could be what your inner guidance is telling you. This is not the place for you. But also, I would invite you to think about the powerful creator that you are, and what is it that you want. So do you want this job? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be successful? Like, what do you want? And put your energy on there, and not worry about trying to figuring out, should I take it? Should I not take it? Let guidance tell you what to do. And be open to letting down your own guard and resistance. So many things in life that we have been taught, like when this happens, we say no. Like, for example, there are so many people who are afraid of heights, and they really don't have a good reason for being afraid of heights. They're afraid of heights because their parents were afraid of heights, or people
Right.
who are afraid of water, or so forth and so on, whatever the case may be. And for that particular person, is no reason to have that fear. And they just simply hold it because that's what they were told, that's what they were taught, that's what they believe. And when they venture to go beyond that fear, things open up in ways that you wouldn't even have guessed and imagined. So I would say to literally try to find your guidance, follow your guidance, get quiet when you're in situations like that, where you're like, somebody's trying to force me. I'm not feeling this, or whatever. Just get quiet and follow your own inner guidance.
Yes. Thank you for reiterating that. The guidance will not lead you, it will not be fear-based. That's an important step, or that's an important emotion to also recognize when you're trying to decide which direction to go. The fear will not speak louder than, you know what I mean? That will not guide you in that way. Fear-based.
Thank you, Juanita, for that. The next question is from Sandra. Excuse me, and this question is to Stephen. And so Sandra asks, do you not wear a mask?
Well, I don't wear a mask, but when it comes down to if I have to go out in public and if I have to go inside a store, I have to put the mask on respectfully. So that goes with what I was saying earlier. It's like you do or you don't. It's a win-win type of situation. So with my business, I wear a mask because I deal with clients and I deal with individuals that are they are worried about it. So respectfully, I put my mask on. So I don't once again, I don't reflect my beliefs onto anybody else, or what I believe is true for me. But I'm respectful enough to consider other people's viewpoints and how they feel about it.
Anybody else want to add anything about wearing a mask?
Yeah, I'll add one little piece here. This, and originally my thinking was just as Stephen's, where I would say, everybody should wear a mask because other people will want us to wear masks. But there are a lot of people that are suffering because of wearing a mask. A lot of people don't understand that whenever our body has stuff in it that it wants to get rid of, it tries to get rid of it. And so it's sending it out, but we put the mask on and we're holding these same germs just right here. And so a lot of times people are wearing this mask all day long, and it's just infested with germs that could actually make that person get sick. But they're believing they need to wear it consistently because everybody else wants them to wear the mask, is what they're thinking. So if they see somebody not wearing a mask, it may then be a relief for them to say, you know what, maybe I don't need to wear this mask. And so that piece where we're being respectful by wearing a mask, it's respectful to this person per se, but it's disrespectful to the next. And so it's just, it depends on which way you're looking at it. So
it's a toss up. It's a toss up. Like I said, even if I don't believe in wearing a mask, if I have to go inside the store and they tell me I have to put this mask on in order for me to step inside the establishment, I have to put the mask on. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
I found that every time I put the mask on, I was finding unconsciously it was reconfirming my fears, making my fears stronger. But like you say, if you want to do business certain places,
right,
right.
And for me, as far as wearing a mask, I do wear masks for other people. I understand that everybody's not connected to their power. And so in that, people are afraid, and I am wearing it for other people, wearing it for their fears, and how, heaven forbid, if I do have coronavirus, I'm sure if I get it, I will never know. I'm pretty sure, just like I don't know if I ever had the flu, I probably wouldn't know if I had it or not. And I definitely don't want to be the person who spreads it to someone who is not in their power, and then whatever should happen. So I am very respectful, and I don't have any issues with it, and I'm not concerned about now I'm breathing in my own germs, and now I'm going to get even sicker as a result. So I don't have any of those concerns.
That was a good question, though. That was a good question.
Yes, thank you, Sandra. So I don't know if we have any more questions, but thank you guys for tuning in. Looks like we lost the board, but hopefully she'll be back before we say our final goodbye. But thank you everybody for tuning in, and hopefully there was something here that was informative to you, or that touched you in some way and has inspired you to step into your power a little more. And stepping into your power is really a practice. It's something I have to remind myself to do on a daily basis. It's so often I'm saying that person did this and that person is doing that, and that all of that is affecting me. But really, what am I doing? How am I vibrating? And how can I change my vibration to match what it is that I want more of? So thank you guys. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deborah, for joining me today. And thank you, Scott and Deborah, for bringing this topic to bear today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well,
Good topic. Good topic.
Yeah. So today in Richmond, Virginia, it's like 73 degrees outside and sunny. So that is like a really special day to have in December. So hopefully the rest of you guys are able to get outside, because I'm definitely about to head on outside. All right. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Until next time, this is Arvette, Stephen, Scott, and Deborah.
All right. Enjoy. Bye.